सोच में सकारात्मकता लाएं, जीवन को बेहतर बनाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। मनोदर्पण के काउंसलर से परामर्श पाने के लिए डायल करें टोल फ्री नंबर 844-844-0632। नंबर एक बार फिर सुने 844-844-0632।
नमस्कार, स्वागत है आपका eVidya चैनल नंबर 6 to 12। मैं हूं देवेंद्र त्रिपाठी। आज का सहयोग सेशन आप देख रहे हैं और इस सेशन में हम बात करेंगे इन्फेचुएशन अमंग एडोलसेंट्स, अंडरस्टैंडिंग द रोलर कोस्टर्स ऑफ इमोशंस। लेकिन आपको पहले बता दें कि सहयोग सेशंस क्या है। सहयोग सेशंस आर हेल्ड अंडर मनोदर्पण इनिशिएटिव ऑफ द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन to provide as part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan for providing psychological support to parents, teachers and students. And as you know, the subject of today's session is infatuation among adolescents, understanding the roller coaster of emotions. Our experts, our guests are, I would like to introduce मिस्टर एम पवन कुमार, जो कि टीचर काउंसलर हैं, और साथ ही साथ हमारे साथ जुड़ी हैं डॉक्टर सुजाता बी हंचनालकर, जो कि RI NCERT मैसूरू से हैं। आप दोनों मेहमानों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है हमारे आज के सहयोग सेशंस में।
नमस्ते
जी। और आगे बढ़ें, अपने दर्शकों, अपने छात्रों से जुड़ें और सवाल पूछें आज के इस विषय से जुड़ा हुआ। उससे पहले एक महत्वपूर्ण सूचना, महत्वपूर्ण जानकारी आपके साथ साझा करना चाहेंगे। वी आर प्राउड दैट इंडिया एज्यूम्ड द G20 Presidency and will convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in the country in 2023. A nation deeply committed to democracy and multilateralism, India's G20 presidency would be a watershed moment in her history as it seeks to play an important role by finding pragmatic global solutions for the well-being of all, and in doing so manifest the true spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or the world is one family. और अपने दर्शकों को बता दें, अपने छात्रों को बता दें, आज के इस कार्यक्रम से जुड़े हुए आप सभी दर्शकों से ये जानकारी शेयर कर दें कि आप DTH के साथ साथ हमें देख सकते हैं हमारे ऑफिशियल चैनल NCERT ऑफिशियल, जो कि YouTube पर है अवेलेबल। और आप अपनी प्रतिक्रियाएं या अपने प्रश्न जो हमारे विशेषज्ञ आज के सत्र में जुड़े हुए हैं, इनसे अगर कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं या इस विषय पर आपकी कोई प्रतिक्रिया, कोई राय है, तो हम तक पहुंचा सकते हैं YouTube के चैट बॉक्स में। साथ ही साथ हमें टेलीफोन नंबर के माध्यम से भी प्रेषित कर सकते हैं, जो कि है 8448440632। और ये नंबर आपकी स्क्रीन पर भी दिख रहा है, आप नोट कर सकते हैं और हमसे जुड़ सकते हैं। और आगे बढ़ें, और सबसे पहला सवाल मैम सुजाता मैम आपसे ही रहेगा कि ये जो इन्फेचुएशन है ये होता क्या है? व्हाट इज़ एक्चुअली इन्फेचुएशन?
Yeah. Good evening, viewers, and very happy to connect here. And a very pertinent topic that we have chosen here is infatuation among adolescents. So there are two terminologies which we should see here. One is infatuation and another is adolescent. Both are very, very turbulent words, you can say, because these are the ones which are being faced by adolescents, which in itself is a very, very turbulent phase where there are a lot of changes that are happening to adolescents. And these adolescents are going through a physical change, they are going to emotional change, there is also a spiritual and a lot of other changes that are happening in these adolescents. And during this phase, the most important phase that we consider here is the biological change that is happening, and that is the root cause for the infatuation. What exactly is infatuation? Let us now find out. See, infatuation, it is a surge of emotions because of the changes, hormonal changes that are happening within an individual. And it is a common phenomenon which is experienced by every individual on this earth, be it a male or a female, any human being, through the process of the growth that is there. And this has to be a natural phenomenon. This is not something which maybe earlier it was not spoken so much about, but now that the society is progressing and people are becoming more and more expressive, and this also needs to be considered because adolescent is neither an adult nor a child. So his emotions and feelings are something which are not taken seriously by the parent or the school or the community or the society, we can say. So what exactly it is? It is the intense feeling of attraction and fascination towards someone. This someone can be anyone, need not have to be peer group. It can be peer group. It can be a teacher. It can be a neighbor. It can be a film star. It can be anything. It can be a characteristics from a movie. You may start falling in love with the person and it is instant. One has to know that this feeling of emotion towards you connect to an individual immediately. And it can be anybody from the society or anybody within the immediate environment of an adolescent. So that is what infatuation. It doesn't have any reason why there is an infatuation. So it happens during the growing up phase of an adolescent that they are infatuated by any individual in their life. Sir, that exactly is an infatuation. And when an adolescent is going through a complex process of growth, he is trying to discover himself. There is a self-discovery. Identity formation, as I told you earlier, he is neither an adult nor a child. And we don't take them as adults. We people do not take them seriously. That is another form because they are still forming their identity. So when we ask them, who are you? They are not able to define who exactly they are, what they want to become. And this infatuation is where the affirmations start taking place. Another individual identifies you as an individual. See, this is where important aspect of infatuation works, where it is slowly taking a shape where an individual is given affirmation for his identity. And infatuation is something very, very intense. As I said that it is instant, it is intense. And fortunately, unfortunately, it is short-lived attraction, which is due to an emotional bonding. One has to understand that it is very, very short-lived, and usually it is based on the physical appearance mainly. Predominantly, we say that. Mainly it is because of the physical appearance of the opposite sex. Okay. It can be romantic ideals. You read a book, you have an imagination of an individual, and an individual fits into your imagination. Then you get infatuated. You have idealized somebody and you find all those characteristics in an individual. Then we get infatuated by them. It can be, as I said, it can be Harry Potter. Somebody sees a movie, somebody reads a book, then the moment they see a movie, they have the infatuation regarding that characteristics that they relate to. And that is where the infatuation begins. So it can be only books, it can be only movies, it can be a person, it can be a neighbor, it can be a peer group, it can be anyone that the adolescent get infatuated. So one has to differentiate between the true love or is it an infatuation. And it is too early for an adolescent to take a call whether it is a true love, even though they will have an ideology thinking that it is true love. But it is not so, because it doesn't have a commitment, it doesn't have the depth of understanding, it is only a physical attraction. So it cannot sustain the long duration of any relationship that usually happens with a love. So they are not in the phase that they understand what exactly is a love, but usually they go by the physical appearance or certain idealized characteristics that they find in an individual. Yes, sir. That exactly is what we call it as infatuation. Sir?
जी बहुत खूबसूरती से आपने समझाया एडोलसेंस में क्या होता है इन्फेचुएशन, और इन्फेचुएशन का मतलब सीधा सा ये हुआ कि किसी भी व्यक्ति या चीज़ों के प्रति, किसी कहानी के प्रति, किसी कैरेक्टर के प्रति आपका जो लगाव होता है, जुड़ाव होता है, आकर्षण होता है, वही है इन्फेचुएशन। तो अगला सवाल सुजाता मैम आपसे ही रहेगा कि व्हाट एक्चुअली द व्हाट आर द कॉजेज ऑफ द इन्फेचुएशन अमंग एडोलसेंट्स? कारण क्या होते हैं इस इन्फेचुएशन के, इस आकर्षण के?
Yeah, thank you, sir, for that question. We have to understand what exactly is infatuation now, and we have known what exactly is infatuation. But what are the reasons for infatuation? We all know the adolescent phase is vibrant. They're very, very energetic. They crave to do new things. And these new things, they want to do everything. They want to try everything. They are more often experimenters in this phase. They want to experiment things. And that is because of the many of the aspects like hormonal changes. We all know that the secondary sexual characteristics of adolescence gets expressed because of the hormonal changes. We all know that there is a lot of hormonal changes happening during the adolescent period, and this leads hormonal changes is mainly because of the testosterone and estrogen, which is in male as well as female. These hormonal fluctuations that are happening, we all know that we are controlled by the hormones. Our feelings, emotions, all that we express are majorly controlled by the hormones, and because of that these hormonal fluctuation lead to these emotions, and in these intense emotional feeling that the adolescents they have, that is something sometimes which is uncontrolled, and this is because they are not focused. There has to be a guidance that has to be given to children, because during one thing is acceptance of as an individual, because the growth that is taking place within them, the children are changing, their physical growth is happening, secondary sexual characteristics are getting expressed, and that acceptance must be there. Once that acceptance happens, many a times they may withdraw. See, infatuation doesn't mean they will go and express their feelings to someone. No, no, no. They can always withdrawal symptoms also be there. They will withdraw from that person when they are infatuated by a certain person. That also can happen. So this major cause of the infatuation is the hormonal. Another very good influence we can see is peer. We all know that how strong is the peer influence during the adolescent period. They have the maximum, if at all they feel that, okay, a boy has a feeling for a girl and vice versa, okay, which is just an infatuation during the adolescent. So the other peer group may feel that, okay, I should also develop feelings, even though he may not get infatuated by somebody. He may hear stories of love, he may hear stories of attraction towards a person. Then they feel pressurized to experience similar emotion. They need not have to have similar emotions. And even if they have similar emotions, they would not have expressed. But this peer influence usually leads to expression of or develop expression regarding infatuation, that okay, I have developed a feeling towards somebody. If they start teasing someone, usually which adolescents do that, and if they start teasing by someone's name, suddenly this they start developing feelings rather than whether they had feelings or not. So this is a very, very good example. We can say that peer influence is there in everything, be it a career choice, be it institutional choice. For example, school, where do I want to pursue after 10th standard? It has a great role, like peer, wherever they want to go, their friends, they will go there. But one has to make a wise decision. Do I know what exactly what my abilities are, my emotions are? If I am infatuated by someone, what exactly are these? Why am I being carried away with these things? So many times they are there against their own teachers, their friends, or even parents. When they talk about that, infatuations are not something which are not considered to be good. When parental acceptance is a very, very important aspect here, parents should know what exactly is happening in a child's life. Then media and pop culture, highly influencing. We all know what is the social media influence now, the present generation. is fortunate in one way. They have a global knowledge expansion. They can access knowledge from anywhere, download, upgrade knowledge. Everything is happening at the same time. But this media also portrays romantic relationships. As I said earlier, we all had our infatuations during our growing up age with the celebrities, because movies are the only source for us, and we were all having this infatuation for one or the other celebrity, and they idealized love stories. See what happens, social media idolizes love stories, and these children, the adolescents, get influenced by the perception of romance. Starts from there. They do not have any perception of romance or love, and they have unrealistic expectations. See what happens, this adds a lot to the infatuation when they have a lot of expectations, and these expectations are not realistic ones. They are very, very unrealistic. What is being portrayed in the movies, what is being portrayed on the social media, they think that exactly this is what happens in real life, which is no, which doesn't happen actually. Real life is much, much difficult, much, much different, much, much challenging than what is being portrayed on the social media. So
Thank
children
you.
must be made aware of such things.
Thank you so much,
Search
ma'am,
for
for
identity.
giving us a very clear picture to our students, teachers and parents about what is infatuation and what are the causes for infatuation. और अगला सवाल अब मैं सर पवन कुमार से पूछूंगा, what are the effect of infatuation in adolescents, sir?
Thank you, sir. Welcome to everyone for attending this program. So the first thing that comes is emotional turmoil. As Madam has discussed, so much is happening inside an adolescent's head, and they are infatuated towards someone. And most of the time, what happens is the other person does not understand why this person is doing the same. And there are high expectations that are raised when a person is infatuated towards someone, and they expect the same from the other individual, which they do not get, and this leads to a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and there'll always be a feeling of high, low, and they'll be having difficulty in managing their feelings. So emotional turmoil is something that is very common among adolescents with infatuation. And moving on to the next one, it is distraction from studies and activities. We all know, as Madam has told, we all were infatuated to someone during our adolescence at some point of life. So what happens is, when we are studying or when we are doing some other activity, we are constantly lost in the thoughts. We are creating scenarios, we are creating situations in our head, and we are fantasizing things. But these things do take our precious time, which we have to dedicate for studies, which we have to dedicate for other activities. So infatuation can, in this way, also consume or affect adolescents. Moving on to the next one, it is risky behavior. So in extreme cases, infatuation can lead to risky behaviors. Most of the times what happens is adolescents will not be able to get things in their own way, or they'll be expecting a lot of things in return which will not be happening, and this causes a lot of stress, this causes a lot of anger, this causes a lot of disappointment. And to vent out this anger, this disappointment, this stress, they try to look for other ways, and this can lead to unsafe activities. It can be substance abuse, or it can be doing something risky, it can be taking extreme step towards for themselves physically or emotionally, and to the other person also. The other thing is vulnerability to manipulation. The person that they are infatuated towards can actually manipulate them. And this has happened in most of the cases, where they selflessly dedicate themselves to the other individual, not knowing the consequences of what they are trying to do to them. And this can be very dangerous for them. Adolescents in infatuation may become vulnerable to manipulation by peers or those they are infatuated with. As Madam told, peers can be a very strong source, so they can say, चल ना यार ये करते हैं, चल ना यार ऐसे हो सकता है, देख उसकी भी है, तुम्हारा भी हो सकता है. So these kind of things come in head, and adolescents easily get carried away towards these things which are very risky. So these are, sir, the effects of infatuation among adolescents. There are many other, but I have discussed the major ones.
ओके. सो अगले सवाल पर चलते हैं. ये सवाल बहुत ही अहम था कि इन्फेचुएशन के इफ़ेक्ट्स क्या होते हैं. तो स्टूडेंट्स और टीचर्स और पेरेंट्स को ये समझ में आ रहा होगा कि इन्फेचुएशन को बहुत ज़्यादा तवज्जो, बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस देने की आवश्यकता नहीं होती. अगला जो सवाल है ये है कि कुछ सुझाव मैं आपसे अगर कहूँ पवन सर, सजेस्ट अ फ्यू कोपिंग स्ट्रेटजीज टू ओवरकम इन्फेचुएशन फॉर स्टूडेंट्स, टीचर्स एंड पेरेंट्स, प्लीज सजेस्ट.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for this question. So, coping strategies are something very important, and this is not only important for parents and teachers; it's also important for the adolescents who are watching this program. So, we have to encourage adolescents to recognize and acknowledge their feelings of infatuation. Most of the times, what happens is in our homes we do not, agree that a person is attracted towards someone, or there is no safe space created for children to talk about these, talk about their attractions, or talk about what they are feeling. So it's very important for one to make individual recognize what they are feeling through. So understanding distinction between infatuation and genuine love can help in managing emotions more effectively. As Madam talked before, infatuation is not at all same when compared to genuine love. Genuine love is between two individuals, whereas infatuation most of the time is one-sided and is not something that will progress for a long term. So self-awareness is something which is very important, and adolescents should be made self-aware. Second thing is open communication. We have to encourage adolescents to recognize and acknowledge their feelings on infatuation. This can only happen when adolescents are given safe space to talk about their feelings, and they are made to feel comfortable. They are made to feel that they are, whatever they are talking is between the individual. So teachers can play a very big role, and even parents have to encourage open communication with their children. So open communication can provide valuable insights and support during this emotional journey. As we all know, during infatuation, a lot of stress can be created, a lot of anxiety can be created among adolescents, and there needs to be some mechanism through which they can communicate their feelings, and they can be able to talk out what is happening, and proper suggestions can be given when the problem is clearly understood. So it's very important. And moving on to the next one, it's focusing on personal growth. We have to encourage adolescents to focus on personal growth. Most of the time, what happens is when an adolescent is infatuated towards someone, they dedicate their complete time and everything for the other person, not giving importance to their personal development, their academics, their hobbies. So an individual or an adolescent needs to be reminded that they have to also manage their personal growth in this. And while managing personal growth, there might be chances that the intensity of infatuation might come down, because they are focusing on other things also, and now they are aware that this is not the only thing that I have to look into. This is not the only thing that will decide my future. So managing personal growth is something that is very important, and all adolescents should be moved towards this. And one more important thing is setting up boundaries. When Madam was talking about peer influence, we all know that peer influence is something which is very strong, and saying no is something that we all do not clearly understand or have not learned. We all have to teach adolescents to say no when it is required, and draw clear boundaries wherever required. Okay, so for example, your friend is saying that, okay, see them, they are having good time, let us also try to have. So you have to be you have to make adolescents aware that this is something that is good for me, this is something that is not good for me, and set boundaries accordingly. That the boundaries can be for friends, boundary can be for anything, any individual that has an influence on them. Then moving on to the next theme is encouraging realistic expectations. So as Madam also told, movies and pop culture is something that have given us a picture of a love which can happen anywhere, anytime, which is not true. Real life, the reality is completely different from what is shown in the movies. We can take example of few movies like Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, where they kind of try to say that love can only happen once and it can never happen again. Or some extreme like movies. Like, I would like to be here that movies are made just for viewing, but what happens is when adolescents watch movies, they kind of idealize the characters that come with the movies. So one more strong example, there was Kabir Singh, which recently came in, and it made a big impact on the adolescents. So so adolescents need to be made aware of what is actually real, and whatever is happening on screen or whatever they're reading, whatever they're fantasizing is not the same. The real life situation is something that is completely different. And when they know, like, setting realistic expectations can prevent disappointments and unnecessary heartaches. So it becomes the role, a very important role of parents, teachers, and society members to set realistic expectations among adolescents. So I would like to say, in conclusion, infatuation is a natural and common experience that everyone undergoes during adolescence. And as individuals navigate through this phase of intense emotions, and try to understand the cause, effects, and coping strategies related to infatuation is crucial for their emotional well-being. So, in the end, I would like to say that with proper support, guidance, and self-awareness, adolescents can learn to manage their feelings of infatuation and grow emotionally mature into healthy adults. So, this is something very important. Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू सो मच सर, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर गिविंग अस इम्पॉर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन अबाउट इन्फैचुएशन। तो आज के इस सहयोग सत्र में आप सभी दर्शकों, छात्रों और अभिभावकों ने ये जाना कि इन्फैचुएशन क्या होता है, उसके कारण क्या हैं, क्यों होता है और इफ़ेक्ट्स क्या होते हैं। अगर इन्फैचुएशन से प्रभावित है कोई बच्चा, कोई एडोलेसेंस प्रभावित है तो किस तरह से उसके कारण क्या होते हैं, उसके प्रभाव क्या होते हैं और इससे बचने के उपाय क्या हैं। अगर आप अभी जुड़े हैं तो आपको बता दें कि ये कार्यक्रम हमारा यूट्यूब प्लेटफॉर्म पर NCERT ऑफिशियल चैनल पर अवेलेबल रहेगा। आप उसे देख सकते हैं, फिर से देख सकते हैं और बेहतर ढंग से इस विषय को समझ सकते हैं, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है एडोलेसेंट्स बच्चों में, छात्रों में ये टॉपिक। और निश्चित तौर पर कई बार अभिभावक बहुत चिंतित होते हैं इस तरह के बदलाव जो बच्चों में, छात्रों में देखने को मिलते हैं। आज का टॉपिक था इन्फैचुएशन अमंग स्टूडेंट्स एंड एडोलेसेंट्स एंड रोलर कोस्टर ऑफ इमोशंस, अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द रोलर कोस्टर ऑफ इमोशंस। और आज के एक्सपर्ट थे हमारे डॉक्टर सुजाता बी हंचनालकर फ्रॉम RIE NCERT मैसूरू और M पवन कुमार, टीचर काउंसलर। आप दोनों मेहमानों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे जुड़ने के लिए और हमारे छात्रों से इतनी इम्पॉर्टेंट जानकारियां साझा करने के लिए, हमारे दर्शकों से जुड़ने के लिए आप सभी का शुक्रिया। और चलते चलते अपने छात्रों से एक इम्पॉर्टेंट जानकारी शेयर करेंगे कि अगर अभी तक आपने NCERT की पाठ्य पुस्तकें नहीं खरीदी हैं तो आपके सामने ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल हैं, स्क्रीन पर भी आप देख सकते हैं और हम आपको बता भी देते हैं क्या क्या ऑप्शंस हैं। इसके लिए आप NCERT के जो सेल्स काउंटर्स हैं दिल्ली, अहमदाबाद, बेंगलुरु, कोलकाता और गुवाहाटी में, वहाँ से भी ले सकते हैं। इसका जो पता है वो एग्जैक्टली वो आप ncert.gov.in से प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। और समय, इन काउंटर्स का समय है सुबह 9:30 से शाम 6 बजे तक। हर दिन ये काउंटर खुले रहते हैं। इसके अलावा आप ऑनलाइन ऑर्डर भी कर सकते हैं ncertbooks.ncert.gov.in। इसके अलावा आपके सामने विकल्प ये भी मौजूद है कि आप ई-पाठशाला, दीक्षा और NCERT की वेबसाइट और एप्लीकेशन से ये पाठ्य पुस्तकें PDF वर्जन में डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन, लैपटॉप और टैबलेट पर उन पुस्तकों को पढ़ने का आपको अवसर मिल सकता है। आप सभी छात्रों, दर्शकों और पेरेंट्स, टीचर्स का बहुत बहुत स्वागत, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इस कार्यक्रम से जुड़ने के लिए। आपको बता दें कि कल आप जुड़ सकते हैं और कल का जो टॉपिक रहेगा सहयोग सेशन का वो है एम्पावरिंग सक्सेस थ्रू इंटेंशन। जुड़िए हमारे साथ और इम्पॉर्टेंट जानकारियाँ आपको यहाँ पर मिलेंगी। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, धन्यवाद।
सोच में सकारात्मकता लाएं, जीवन को बेहतर बनाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। मनोदर्पण के काउंसलर से परामर्श पाने के लिए डायल करें टोल फ्री नंबर 844-844-0632। नंबर एक बार फिर सुने 844-844-0632।